Today we're going to be talking about H-Series, K-Series, and J-Series, and which one's going to be the best swap for your car. Now, this can range from Civics, Integras, Accords, whatever you want to put it in, but mainly I just want to focus on Civics and Integras because those are the most common. Starting off with H-Series, we have the H22A, which came out of the Prelude. It weighs around, give or take, 480 pounds. Now, this information is not off the top of my head. It actually came from superstreetonline.com. So I'll link a website down below so you guys can fact check me or where I get some of my information from, because I don't have an H-Series motor just sitting around that I could weigh. It is the heaviest, or at least the second heaviest on this list. All of these engines that I'm about to list have over 2 liters. A lot of people use it for the common H2B swap, which is basically they get an H-Series engine and put a B-Series transmission on it, which I highly recommend because the B-Series transmission is almost bulletproof. The K-Series, a lot of people have complaints about the K-Series. The H-Series is kind of The D-Series, it's just out of the equation. There's no point even talking about D-Series transmissions. So a lot of people like the B-Series transmission. So the H22 is in fact 2.2 liters. Now that is the smallest, or at least I guess you could say that is the smallest in displacement of all 3 of these engines. Now there is the K20, but the K24, I'm going to talk about the combinations between those two, so just bear with me here. But the H22 is probably the best bang for your buck if you're a budget builder and you don't want to spend too much money to get a nice amount of torque and power at the same time. Now, the H-Series, after researching, you can find an H-Series engine on eBay for about $1,000 to $1,500 just for the long block, which is kind of okay, kind of reasonable. You have to realize that the H-Series doesn't require as much fabrication as a K-Series or J-Series would. So it's fairly simple to swap, and the aftermarket parts industry for the H-Series it's existing. There's parts readily available for you to buy online. So I highly recommend getting H-Series if you are a budget builder and you're just looking for something cheap that has a lot of torque. Now, the power output of the H-Series is on the low end compared to all of these other engines, but it definitely can pack a punch if you know what you're doing. So I really didn't go much in depth about the B-Series, K-Series video, and this one's going to be a little more factual and opinionated. Depending on how you look at it. I'm going to try to add more information into this video than what I did in the previous video. So here we go. So the K20 weighs around 405 pounds, which is the same as the B-Series VTEC engines. So when you swap a K-Series in a B-Series car, you don't really have to worry about weight at all. A lot of people will say, oh, when you swap an H-Series into a car, it's going to be way heavier. You're going to have much more understeer. You're going to have this, that. When weight plays a very, very minimal factor, a couple hundred pounds for an engine swap. And when you engine swap your car, obviously you're going to engine swap something with more horsepower. So obviously it's not going to really affect you. So that's never the case when swapping engines. Just don't think about that unless you're, LS swapping something, which we really can't do in these cars and kind of defeats the purpose of them. But that's that. The K24 comes in at 413. Now it's a little bigger. Not many people just do K24 swaps. They usually put a K24 block and K20 head. That way they can kind of rev a little higher. So there's really no reason to do a full K24 swap. So it's going to be probably a little less actually, now that I think about it. Besides that, K20 is 2 liter. K24 is 2.4 liters. So right out the gate, the K-Series has more displacement for one of the engines, not the second engine. If you're really just hooked on displacement, you just want the maximum possible amount of torque, then K-Series will be better than H-Series in that sense. But hear me out, we got more to talk about K-Series. After researching on Craigslist, you can find a K20 or K24 anywhere from $500 to $1,500. Honestly, there's really no definite answer because you can find them pretty much anywhere and they were mass produced. So they're not as difficult to find as you may think. Now the K28-2, which comes out of the DC5s, is a little harder to find. But then again, most people can't afford that type of swap and they end up just getting a regular K20 and just modding it from there. So yeah, there's really no reason to buy those. I know it's more difficult than an H-Series, but I'm not sure if it's more difficult than a J-Series would be. But then again, you have to consider J-Series is V6 and not a 4-cylinder. So now the K-Series engines have a huge aftermarket scene. Everything is K-tuned. Everybody loves K-tuned. I mean, right there, that's all you really need, honestly. If you're buying a K-Series engine, just go K-tuned, you know. But you have to have deep pockets if you want to go K-Series. So many people think you can do a K-swap for so cheap. Everybody misses this when I say this. You can do a K-swap. Yes, you can. You, watching this video right now. But can you do it all by yourself? Probably not. So you're gonna have to take it somewhere so somebody can help you. And labor racks up real fast, you know. Those people out there who are mechanically inclined to K-swap their cars, by all means, go ahead. But if you're just a regular Joe Schmo who wants a K-Series engine in their car and don't know how to do it at all, you're gonna have to take it somewhere, and it's gonna cost you quite a bit of money. Now, is the K-Series practical? I would say definitely yes. The only thing I have bad to say about K is it can get expensive. Not saying it is expensive. When I said in the last video, you know, if you have 10K to spend, then by all means, go ahead and go K. What I meant by that statement was, if you have $10,000 sitting in your bank account, that means you will have enough money to fund your K-Series engine, and you'll have money left over to pay for whatever you need. Now, honestly, if you only have like $2,000 in your bank account or $3,000, and you go ahead and buy all your K parts, now you're broke. You don't have any money now. How are you gonna, you know, live? So that's what I meant. I didn't mean play money, I didn't mean spending money, I just meant money in general, because K-Series engines are quite expensive if you are trying to fully build it. Now last is J-Series, and the reason why I added the J in, because a lot of people actually wanted me to add this into a video somehow, so I'm just going to plop it right here in this video. J-Series obviously isn't a 4-cylinder, it's a V6 and it's VTEC. It comes in a 3-liter and a 3.2 liter, and both of them are by far amazing. I was actually considering getting a J-Series and putting it into a EG. There's not a huge aftermarket scene for the J-Series, I just want to say that now, and the manual transmission is hard to find and quite expensive. That's the downside to that. But definitely, if you have a J-Series, or if you're thinking about getting a J-Series, do it. Is it practical? Nah, not really. But it is definitely a race-worthy motor, and I highly recommend it because it's so cheap. Now, the J-Series engine only weighs about 550 pounds, which may seem like a lot. Yes, it's 550 pounds, but you have to consider the horsepower. The reason why I like J-Series more than K-Series is because J-Series is cheap, number one. J-Series comes in at about $500 to $1,000. That's extremely cheap for an engine. The transmission can range depending on which one you want. I forget which one it is, the TL or the CLS. I can't remember exactly right now off the top of my head, but you guys will correct me in the comment section below. It can be a little expensive depending on which one you get. I think I saw something for like $1,000. So that's $2,000 right there if you were to get the transmission and the engine itself. So right there, you're already looking pretty good. Now, Hasport motor mounts are somewhere in the ballpark of $500 to $600. Can't remember off the top of my head. So there is motor mounts for this to put into your DC, EG, EF, or actually I'm not sure about EF, but EG and DC cars, I'm 100% positive that you can put that in your car. So that's why I like J-Series over K-Series, because it's cheaper, it produces more torque and horsepower. Now, some of you may be saying, well, K is the best thing out there. It's the future, you know, that's what everybody has, you know, why isn't anybody going J? Now, it's not really practical for daily use, so I could kind of understand why a lot of people kind of steer clear of J. From a race standpoint, all you racers out there, you might want to consider going J over K someday, because J honestly has way more potential than K. It's overhyped, honestly. K-Series is overhyped. Out of all three of these engines, the best one that I would choose for any type of use would be the J-Series. That's all I got to say about that. If you have problems about that, you can just dislike the video right now, which I'm sure you'll do because I didn't say K, and I will see you guys in the next one.